morning. This is our first Commissioner workshop session. Once again, we have these workshops. It works better when I turn on the microphone. Thank you very much. I'm new to this, Sheriff. I'm doing my best up here, sir. Welcome to our Commissioner's Workshop. This is our opportunity for anybody from the public to come in and speak about any topic, preferably within reason, I guess. But yes, we're open for discussion. Anybody who would like to speak, please feel free to approach the mic, state your name and address. Yes, sir.
Dave Lima, Litchfield Drive in Mentor. Good morning, Commissioners. Respectfully, I would urge you to reconsider your approval of Resolutions 11 and 12 as listed on the October 30th, 2025 meeting agenda that provides for additional homestead and owner-occupied tax exemptions for Lake County residents. I urge you to vote to rescind those resolutions. Based on the average tax bill, the savings realized for a Lake County homeowner would be approximately $100 to $150 a year, compared to a loss of our Lake County school districts of over $9 million. This according to the chief financial officers in those districts. This loss will likely result in districts going to the voter for additional revenue, and if passed, the additional taxes will likely exceed the $100 to $150 projected savings provided by the piggyback extension. If communities fail to pass the requested levies or income tax increases, educational quality and essential programs would be threatened, an outcome that I wish, and I hope you wish, to avoid. Of the 88 counties in Ohio, Lake County is only one of 4 counties that have approved the added owner-occupied tax exemption, and only one of 10 that have approved the added homestead tax exemption. Again, I urge you to reconsider the approval of those resolutions and vote to rescind them. At the very least, you should rescind item 12 listed on the October 30th, 25 agenda, the owner-occupied tax exemption resolution. Thank you.
Anybody else on school, if it's okay? Anybody else on anything regarding the school? From my standpoint, I don't know legally that we have the ability to rescind that. I believe the tax bills are being mailed out or have been mailed out. We had to make a decision by October 31st of last year to go into effect for the 2025 tax collections. Most years we have to make that decision by June 30th for the next tax year. Am I saying this correct back there? Right? So for the 2025 taxes, I have been told that legally I don't know that we have the ability to rescind. At least that's the information that I've gotten from the treasurer's and the auditor's office, and I can confirm that. The next decision would be June 30th of this year, which would be then for the 2026 taxes to be collected in 2027. As we said, when we made those decisions, they were difficult decisions, and we did the best with the information that we had. Selfishly, I'll say that I think that the fact that there was only 10 counties that did the homestead and 4 that did the owner occupancy, I'd like to think that we here in Lake County showed leadership in doing our best to get the information as fast as possible and as accurate as possible to be able to make a decision. I know a lot of other counties advocated for it. We were at our County Commissioners Association regional group, I believe in October, early October or maybe September. And most all the counties in there were considering and looking towards something like that. It was just the time of it, the rush, unfortunately, of the budget passing by June 30th, the law going into effect on September 30th, and then we had to make a decision within a month. So from a timing standpoint, I don't know what, if anything, could be done on the rescinding standpoint. We have continued to have conversations with folks in the educational community, as well as the other municipalities and townships, but specifically with the educational community, about finding ways to build efficiencies and to work better together. I already know that the school districts in this county do an amazing job of shared services and working together. When we had these conversations, I would say it kind of broke down into thirds for the contact that I had. A third of the school districts really didn't reach out to me at all and say anything. A third of the school districts said, yeah, you're right. We probably could do better. We could find some efficiencies out there. We understand politically the motivation to try and help taxpayers, especially homeowners and seniors on a limited income. And then about a third of the districts came to us and said, this is a horrible idea. We're already having financial issues. We're going to have to raise our levies higher and higher and stuff like that. I hope that the school districts continue to engage in the bigger picture conversations that we're trying to put together. We had a great meeting with all of the superintendents in the middle of December, I think it was, where we continue to try and come together and have ideas that can be worked on and flushed out and go back to Columbus and say, hey, we'd like to try this, but currently the ORC doesn't allow for that. So what changes do we need to do? And I hope that all those school districts continue to try and work towards that effort, and try and put a full, honest effort into trying to work with the neighbors to figure out a better way to have some of these. There are some opportunities, and every time I come up with these ideas, anybody in the education world looks at me and goes, yeah, you're probably right. Yeah, you're probably right. So I understand how math works, and so I understand that, yes, $150 to one household may not feel like a lot, but $2 million or $2.8 million to a school district can. But at some point, something has to be done, and if we're going to curb that, right, then I would hope, and I know that a lot of the school boards are currently exploring different taxing strategies, and some will work, some won't, but I applaud the effort to not just hit the repeat button on all of these ideas, to go out and try and have a dialogue. And I know I've had dialogues, differing conversations with a CFO from this school district and a CFO from this school district. And, as we joke around, you ask 3 attorneys their opinion, you're going to get 5.5 opinions. You ask 3 school CFOs their opinion, you're going to get 17 opinions, right? And so there's different ways to go about that. And I think that the important part for me is working with the school districts to try and work together to continue to find new solutions. I will say this, just because I like saying things now that may not be popular, so enjoy this one. It's factual that 30, 40 years ago, businesses and commercial properties paid 60% of the property taxes in this state, and residents paid 40%. Now, businesses pay 40% and residents pay 60%. And that, I feel, is probably one of the larger contributing factors to the fact that we are where we are with this property tax conversation, is that the burden is being put on the resident more. And the piggybacks that we did gave a credit to homeowners and senior citizens on limited lower income. And I made the statement at the superintendent's meeting, and I'll say it again. If I had the opportunity to double those, and I did. If I had the opportunity to quadruple those, I would. If I had the opportunity to put a 5x on that, I might think about that. And if that means that school districts need to go back out and raise larger and larger property tax levies, and then the credit comes from us and or the state for the homeowner or the senior on the fixed income, if that's the mechanism to be able to bring that 60-40 back into balance somewhat, I'm not saying to go back to 60-40 the opposite way, but if we could get us to 50-50, can we just be fair? If the mechanism is for the state to give us the ability to triple or quadruple, then I think that for me personally, is a conversation that I will entertain, understanding that then I'm more than happy to come to any school board meeting I'm invited to, or any place where you want me to explain why my logic is. If I can continue to give property tax relief to homeowners and seniors on a limited income, I will continue to do that, so long as it is not at the expense of completely decimating and shutting down our K-12 public education system. So I do appreciate you coming in, sir, and I understand the topic. From a timing standpoint, I don't know what can be done now, if anything, but this is a conversation that will continue to be had between now and June 30th, when we have to make that decision again for this year. So, yes, sure. Morgan, do you have something to say before?
Well, maybe before,
Hey.
if you wouldn't mind.
Yeah, sorry.
I'll jump in. So obviously wasn't part of the vote that took place in October, and I have a lot. I was at the public meeting that you hosted, and I definitely recall walking out thinking this was a difficult decision, and understood by hearing the stakeholders, and obviously property taxes, income tax, all of this stuff is a running narrative, and hot topics, a lot of things going on right now, a lot of moving parts. I've been desiring to tell people, I see when you have a gubernatorial candidate talking about cutting an income tax, and you have about the possible repeal of property tax on the horizon, you have all these things moving on. It just doesn't paint a rosy picture for funding local government. I very specifically have said at other times, the state legislature hasn't done the local governments any fun, to your point, sir, where it causes local governments to have to put tax levies on the ballot. I come from township. The only way we create revenue for the government or fund necessary services through property taxes. Property taxes are abolished, and the township I live in is out of money in a period of months, simply just because there's no amount of savings that would run a government for any year or years. I think all of these, I call them storm clouds, these things on the horizon, are things local leaders need to pay attention to. School districts, mayors, councils, cities, villages, townships, all of it. And I think within a county, the leadership needs to come from the county commissioner's office. We need to work with our local people. And I think to Commissioner Beveridge's point about shared services, efficiencies, as I've asked people to support me in the vote that got me here today, one of the things I promised was looking at the communities across Lake County, finding ways, not just schools, but all the communities, how can we work together? Because we've seen cuts to local government funding, we've seen cuts to other things in local funding that's hurt the local government. Again, creates that local pressure for the necessary funds. Lake County is a fantastic place to live, and we do a lot of things, but there needs to be a level of accountability. There needs to be a rationalization of things that we do in the county now. We've done it this way forever. This has always been, and we're looking ahead into the future and seeing potentially income structures and things that are very different than we've had in the past. So it stands to reason we might need to take a look at how we do things and find a better way to be more accountable to taxpayer dollars, to do more with less where possible, and to get into some of the things that Commissioner Beveridge spoke. Again, as I said, I wasn't here for the vote in October. It's certainly a reality that I'll have to contend with as your commissioner now and in the future. So I don't have the level of detail that Commissioner Beveridge has, but I'm very committed to working with all the entities and addressing these concerns, because these are real problems that aren't going away.
Dave?
Yeah, a couple of comments. First of all, property tax relief is something that I would welcome. As an 83-year-old retired individual, I could stand on a fixed income. I could stand for some relief. However, I am not for property tax relief unless the state makes up all of the differences. And I don't think at this point that the legislature is in a position to or willing to fill that void. So in which case, the property taxes have to remain. I was speaking with Senator I keep thinking Marino. Serino.
There is a Senator Marino.
Yeah, there is a senator, right. Yeah.
Different level. So were you speaking with Marino or Serino?
Serino.
That's our state senator.
At the state level. And of course, he's the chair of the Senate Finance Committee. And he made it clear to me at the Mentor School Board meeting that definitely this piggyback expansion is an option, not a requirement. Now, as far as the technical timing and all of this that you mentioned, you may very well be right. I'm not privy to that information, but there can be rescinding of these resolutions at some point along the line that may then restore the ability of the school boards to at least reduce the amount of additional levy request. For example, on Mentor already on an annual basis reduces their budget by $2 million. It is all part of the long-term strategy for ensuring financial stability. That is, I think, an important part when you're talking about efficiencies and operating in a financially responsible way. So, well, that's basically all I want to say.
Okay, and I will get a final answer, but as I have been told by multiple people, and I don't mean to dispute our state senator Serino, I don't know that there is a way to rescind what we have done here. It comes up every year. It is not a permanent. The decision that we made on October 30th was not in perpetuity, and so I've had conversations with the Mentor Schools CFO that insists that I cut $10 million from his budget. No, I cut $2 million. That's not to say that we may not do it again, but it's a year by year by year by year conversation. And so when we had the meeting with everybody involved, I said we're going to make a decision each year, and each year may be a different decision depending on what happens. The decision that we made was with the information we had on October 30th, and we were finding out new information that week coming from the state. So as I understand it, I have until June 30th of 2026 we as a board have until then to make the decision whether we want to adopt the piggybacks on the homestead and on the owner occupancy credit. Right now, they are put in place for the 2025 tax year for collections in 2026.
Okay.
So
Thank you.
Yep. I'm sorry. 2024. We made the adoption by October 30th for the 2024 tax year to be collected in 2025. It's 2026. You're right. Yeah, sorry. All right, I was right. I was like, wait, no, it's 2025. Guys got me. Sheriff, bail me out, man, on these numbers up here, would you, buddy? Yes, last year was 2025. We made the decision for the 2025 tax year that's collected in 2026. Those tax bills are going out now. Some of the changes, just to make sure the residents understand, some of the changes that were made at the state level will not go into effect and will not be put into the tax bill in the first half of your taxes. You will not see some of those things until the second half tax bill, which I think comes out in July-ish. So, okay. Mr. Exley, sir.
Good morning, Commissioners. Just for the record, I'm Alan Exley, your Lake County engineer. I wanted to take advantage of your workshop as an opportunity to congratulate Commissioner McIntosh and to reach out and say that I'm available. I know you're probably very, very busy right now, and I've been in my position over a year now, and it's continued. It doesn't stop. So when we get an opportunity, we should probably sit down and have a conversation. There's several things going on. We can come up to speed with what's happening, and again, congratulations.
Thank you. Just getting oriented here, I discussed with Mr. Boyd here earlier, we're going to start getting a cadence, and I will be making my rounds, so I'm not sure how long that's going to take me. I've got a lot of places to land, but definitely on my list. Thank you, and I look forward to hearing all the great things that are going on in the engineer's office.
Absolutely. I look forward to it as well.
Thank you.
Thank you. Anyone else? Going once? Going twice? Okay, seeing none, we'll bring this meeting to a close and adjourn. Thank you.